From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Andrea Lutz. This afternoon, there's new information surrounding the Moderna vaccine and its expansion for trials to include kids. The studies are designed to show how children tolerate the vaccine and to make sure it's safe and effective for them. Reporter David Begnow spoke to one family that's involved.
It was Blair Davis's 15th birthday, and to celebrate, she and her younger sister Dylan got into the car, headed to a clinic.
Happy birthday, way to celebrate.
And they got a COVID swab. That's because the Davis sisters are part of Moderna's adolescent vaccine trials. And yesterday, they got their second shots.
No way to know if it's a placebo or if it's the real thing, but what do you think?
I think I got the placebo.
We're pushing for a fever. We're pushing for body ache.
Yes, exactly.
Because as doctors, you know that if that happens, the body is reacting to something.
That's right. They're getting a response.
Yeah.
We're looking for a response.
Garvin Davis and Mindy Jeter, both doctors, are the girls' parents. They say they applied to at least 3 different adolescent trials.
To get them protected was really important for us.
So you felt like getting them protected as early as possible would in the end protect you?
Would protect us, it would protect their grandparents and anyone else.
But for this family, it's not just about protecting themselves from COVID.
I wanted them to be an example, to set an example, to say, hey, this vaccine is safe. We actually, as doctors, trust our children getting this shot.
And getting kids vaccinated will be critical to ending the pandemic, says CBS News medical contributor Dr. David ACCUSES.
So we have to do everything we can to get toward herd immunity. And given that 25% of the United States is under the age of 21, this is going to have to include children.
And now that we know the vaccines work, children's trials only need to answer the important questions.
Is it safe, period? And do they mount effective immune responses, period? And those are very easy to do with smaller numbers of children.
A few thousand children, actually, starting with kids like Dylan and Blair, who spent her special day in a Houston clinic.
But it's sort of my duty, like as a Houstonian, to help out other Houstonians. This is one way I can do that.
Dr. Anthony Fauci is saying that the older kids, Blair and Dylan's age, could get the COVID vaccine as early as this fall. And the babies, the really young ones, could start getting it as early as next year. David Begnow, CBS News, Houston, Texas.
Moderna hopes to enroll 3,000 participants in the trial for 12 to 17-year-olds. In Montana, 10% of Gallatin County residents are fully vaccinated, and now more than 50% are vaccinated in Butte-Silver Bow County. This Wednesday's vaccination clinic at the Civic Center is for those 60 and older and 16 and older with special medical conditions. Butte has good participation since vaccination started in December. About 53% of all the eligible population is vaccinated.
We have over 15,000 doses, about 15,400 doses administered as of today. Over 9,000 of those are first doses. We have almost 6,000 people vaccinated with the second dose. So we're doing very well.
And there are a little over 1,000 doses of the vaccine available for that clinic, and officials say there are plenty of open spots still for appointments. The World Health Organization wants countries to continue using the AstraZeneca vaccine despite concerns over blood clots. AstraZeneca is not yet approved in the United States, and 17 million people in Europe and United Kingdom have received that vaccine, with only 40 reported cases of blood clots. Experts say the number of blood clots reported were no higher than what is typical for the general population. New at noon, Yellowstone National Park says the first grizzly bear sighting of the year has happened already. From the air. It happened on March 13th. A pilot supporting park wildlife studies saw the grizzly interacting with wolves and a carcass. And the northern part of the park, it's the first sighting of a grizzly bear in the park this year, although tracks have been seen on several occasions in the past couple of weeks. The first bear sighting of 2020 occurred on March 7th. Well, here's a sight. The nation's recent snow has impacted wildlife too. Take a look at this bald eagle spotted in this nest, keeping those eggs warm on a snowy day. This is in West Virginia. The National Conservation Training Center said the eagle stands up without letting any of that snow fall on those precious eggs. It's pretty amazing to see that. All of that snow was really crazy in parts kind of surrounding us. Is it all over with now?
Well, it's pushed off to the east. We've seen some snow this morning, and we may still see some snow eastern, southeastern part of Montana, northwestern or northeastern corner of Wyoming. And on that note, let's just give you some snow totals. This is mainly in Sheridan County, Wyoming, where near Story we had 13.5 inches as of this morning. Lame Deer, though, in Bighorn County here in Montana, 4.2 inches. Bighorn also 4 inches. That's down in Sheridan County, also in Sheridan County, just near Sheridan itself, is 3.7 inches of snow. Still can see some of that as we go along today. On this note, we still have some road closures that we're dealing with, especially with that big dump of snow we had across Denver and Wyoming. Here just south in our immediate viewing area, south of Sheridan, south and east, we can see some road closures that we do not know when they're going to open back up. Buffalo to Gillette across Interstate 90, US 16, Buffalo to U-Cross, US 14 to 16, US U-Cross up to Sheridan, and the Campbell County line. Now that's the only ones I'm showing you. Also Laramie, Cheyenne, Pine Bluff, Saratoga. Some of these areas are going to try to open up late tonight, early tomorrow morning, but Laramie, I-80, Cheyenne, I-80, US 30, US 85, all those roads shut down because of that record-breaking snow that we saw over the weekend. And again, hopefully by tonight, tomorrow morning, those roads will clear out, and we'll definitely keep you updated on that. Andrea.
Gosh, would not want to be traveling right now, Miller. Thanks. After the resignation of an East Helena police chief, new documents obtained by MTN News reveal that accusations were taking place of sexual assault. William Harrington submitted his resignation letter on March 5th, and MTN filed a public information request Monday, learning that there was a complaint saying Harrington had sexually assaulted a victim. Well, the city then placed him on administrative leave as they investigate. Meanwhile, the Montana DOJ is also investigating, and city leaders say Harrington is presumed innocent. A 6-year-old boy is recovering after being shot north of Great Falls. Well, deputies responded to a home on Hebron Road over the weekend to find the boy with injuries to his arm and rib cage. Family members say an 11-year-old was loading a .22 in the garage but accidentally tripped and pulled the trigger. The bullet ricocheted off the floor, striking the 6-year-old. He was flown to the hospital, and there are no criminal charges filed in this case. Well, the first major tax hike in nearly 3 decades for the wealthy could be looming. The Biden administration is planning for the first major federal tax increase since 1993. The changes include raising the corporate tax rate and increasing income tax rates on those earning more than $400,000 a year. Stimulus checks flood into bank accounts of Americans this week, and the state government also getting an influx of federal cash. Montana's budget director says the state will receive $3 billion, and a new committee in the legislature is taking on that large task of drafting the bill to determine how much money should be spent. Some of the money will be used for things like childcare and vaccines, but at least $900 million will be decided by our lawmakers.
We want to be forward thinking in how we use it, and we want it to be a huge boon to the state of Montana for years to come. That's the idea, and it's going to take a lot of time to get it right.
Governor Greg Gianforte wants the money to be spent on workforce training for those who've lost their job due to COVID or installing high-speed internet in Montana. LGBTQ advocates are pushing back against legislation that would require trans people to obtain a court order to change their gender. The measure would limit access to hormone treatment for trans youth and prevent them from competing in high school sports programs. Supporters say it aims to protect the rights of people of faith. 21 other states currently have religious freedom restoration laws. Extra patrols will be on hand for tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day celebration in Butte. Sheriff Ed Lester tells us that police will have extra foot patrols walking in Uptown, and officers won't be enforcing those mask mandates, but they will be encouraging people to social distance and avoid overcrowding the bars. Lester also says officers will also help manage crowds in the bars. We do have more ahead on today's new news, including how one small Montana town offers big adventure ranking on a national travel list. We're going to find out which one. And Miller is back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.